best damn show on the radio. You don't like it? Keep listening.
What you have right here is the power of the BDSIR network. Extremely happy to bring to you the greatest intercontinental champion to ever grace this title. People, welcome back to Behind the Block with Mike Knoxxx. People, as you can tell, I'm extremely overdosely, stick a needle in your ass like aroids, happy. The Ultimate Warrior is going to the Hall of Fame, people. And in honor of the greatest intercontinental champion of all time, I rock the yellow intercontinental title. I don't bring this belt out much, people. Signed by the Road Dogg Jesse James. Signed by other great intercontinental champions. No time to continue to talk about who's on the back of this belt, but it's time to talk about who wore this belt, people. Welcome to the Raw review of Raw Reviews. Why does this review become better than the other reviews? Simply because it came off of a pretty much a 2-week hiatus, being that we had the old school Raw. People, you can follow me on Instagram, on Twitter, wherever there's any social network capabilities, at Mike Knoxxx. And indeed, I spell it with 3 X's because like the man that wore this title, I am hardcore. People, let's just get into it. I'm going to grab my notes, if you will, because there was a lot to talk about on this evening's Raw. First, let's just get into where the show ended. Can we just go there, people? Can we just please get someone to do me a favor? And in the words of Chris Jericho, please shut the hell up. Because you got some smart Mark, some Buster that's sitting back saying, the WWE didn't know what to do with him, so they flipped him back. They couldn't tell that the crowd wanted him to go over. And I say to you, for those who think that I'm just a WWE mark, no, I am a wrestling fan. A wrestling fan of all wrestling. But I see through the smog. I see through the fog. I see through all the bullcrap that is the WWE. And when I say that, I say it no cooler, no calm, no more with more intelligence than by telling you you're an idiot if you feel that they didn't know that 16,000 people were screaming. Yes! 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 And you saw that this evening at the conclusion of Raw. But let me go back, if you will, so to speak. Rewind that for me, please. Let's just get into it. As Raw opened up with the Wyatts taking on the Usos. The winner of the match was obviously the Usos. Why? Obviously, I don't know. It just came out my mouth, so I said it. The Usos win that match by disqualification. But bigger and more of a better story that came from the opening part of Monday Night Raw was the fact that Bray Wyatt said something that was sweet in the ear of Daniel Bryan, and all of a sudden Daniel Bryan drops to his knees, says, I follow the buzzards, and he gets the sweet Abigail. Then we go on from there, and Cena's first match in 2014, why was he wrestling against Damien Sandow? I don't know, maybe they're digging, or as Grandmaster Sexay, who we had on earlier on Perfect Plex Talk Radio on the BDSR radio networks, cheap pop, but it's not, because I pay for the radio network, said earlier, there's no burial. If they're going to bury you, it's more of a bulldozer. So he takes on Damien Sandow, and honestly, it was a good match, but I always get a good match from Cena and Damien Sandow. Damien Sandow, like I said last week on this program, I think will be a future champion one day. So people, please do me a favor and wipe your ass with your negative opinions about what they're doing, because you don't know no more than I know about what they're doing. You know why? Because they don't know what they're doing. Also, Kane and Brad Maddox Bischoff, if you will, so to speak, after the Wyatt match, they say, hey, you know what? Let's get a little interesting here. Let's do something that hasn't been done in a year here. Let's get him in a cage match. And this is where I got a little upset, because as I get to the ending later, I'm thinking, Kane says, no one's going to have a key but me. So everybody assumed Kane's going to do something. I digress as I get back into the program. Then you had the Big Show take on Jack Swagger, winner Big Show. Then you had the New Age Outlaws.
Oh, you didn't know? Your ass better call somebody.
And if you're not down with the New Age Outlaws being back, I got 2 words for you. Exactly. But they come back with the best in the world, the best since day one. CM Punk taking on the Shield. And shocking. Can we say shocking? I mean, it is the New Age Outlaws. They are known for doing things like this, but they walk out on the best in the world. Later on that night, CM Punk goes to the Authority. Well, not the Authority, but Kane and Greg Maddox, and goes, hey, what's going on with this? Where are these guys at? Hey, you're in the Rumble now, Kane says to him, and that's where we move on from there. Then we have, in that match, though, let me just digress a little bit more. Roman Reigns, are you showing out? Matter of fact, as they say in the clubs, or the young, dumb black people, I shouldn't say the young, dumb black people, but as the people say, you turned it up, man. You turned it up in that match. Did you really do a flying 2-footed drop kick and land on the apron? Whoo, Shield members. I'm an Ambrose guy, and Seth Rollins, I'm a fan of yours too, but y'all might want to step up your game a little bit because Roman Reigns sees where the company is talking about taking him, and he's trying to take it to the next level. You need to go ahead and pick your game up, by the way. And also, listen, I'm not into ripping crowds. I'm really not, because a fan's a fan. I mean, listen, Perfect Plex Talk Radio, where a fan can be a fan, but I could not be more confused by the crowd that was in Providence, Rhode Island tonight. First you say Seth Rollins can't wrestle?
Really?
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 The Miz might be.
Really?
Really? Really? Seth Rollins can't wrestle. Please, give me a break. And then you're screaming during the last match, oh, this is boring. Oh, this is awesome. Oh, this is boring. This is awesome. Make up your mind. I'm sorry, crowd. I don't like to give crowds grades, but if I can give your crowd a grade outside the Miami crowd, the New York crowd, the Jersey crowd, that was a horrible crowd. Hey, Providence, Rhode Island wrestling fans, step your crowdship up because that was horrible. I'm just letting you know it didn't come off on TV very well, and you came off kind of unintelligent. Also, as I move on the program, we had the Divas tag matches, the Divas tag Funks take on AJ and Tamina. And then, you know what? On the night, right, a lot of, as I put that down, a lot of hype for the WWE Network, which we talked about before. I did a review specially just for the WWE Network app. Even my son came out and said, the WWE app, the WWE app. How many times are you going to bring it up? They must have brought it up at least 400 times the other night. I mean, I'm not exaggerating. I'm being honest. They brought it up about 400 times in the night. But let's talk about Raw and where the good parts lied in Raw. The good parts in Raw lasted all over the place. Going with Kofi Kingston getting his flashback rematch, if you will, if you want to call it that, taking on Randy Orton. Randy Orton loses to Kofi Kingston and then decides to channel his inner Edge Copeland and decides to go crazy. If he had hair, he'd have pulled it out. The next thing you know, he's walking around because he hears voices in his head and he just sucks John Cena's father. First of all, why is his father at ringside? They didn't even talk about him being here. But anyway, he socks John Cena's father in the face. Next thing you know, John Cena comes out, almost get caught on air saying, you mother... And he goes to the hospital. Can I go with him? Can I go with him? And Randy Orton's going crazy. And Randy Orton's losing his mind right now. The company put the ball behind him. Obviously, they're going to switch that. But I like where they're going with it. Listen, if anybody out there say that Randy Orton is not a complete sports entertainer, I question your wrestling intelligence shit because Randy Orton is the man. I'm not saying you have to be a fan of Randy Orton. I'm not saying you have to like Randy Orton, but if you like professional wrestling and what professional wrestling, if you will, so to speak, represents, then how can you not be a fan or appreciate the talent that is involved in Randy Orton? Yes, he may be boring to you. Yes, he may be unentertaining to you. But as far as what he does in the ring, he is one of the best. Point blank. He is very good at what he's doing, especially this young crowd. I don't want to see the best of all time. That gets thrown around too much. Nobody around here sitting around calling themselves LL Cool J. There's only one GOAT in the professional wrestling world, and that's up to you to decide who that is. Not me, you. I have my GOAT. Who is your GOAT? So we go from there. Then we go into what I talked about earlier, is I came on the program of my Sorry, but you know, everybody has bad impressions. I probably have a very bad impression of the Intercontinental Champion of greatest of all time, if you will, and the Ultimate Warrior, but he's nominated to the Hall of Fame. So the question I asked you, shout out to my man on Facebook, Mr. Media and Graphics, who asked the question, who introduces him at the Hall of Fame? That is a very good question. As we know, the WWE put out the DVD, The Self-Destruction of the Ultimate Warrior. No one actually spoke good about this guy. So I'm going to go on the limb and say, who else can introduce him but the one who actually put him over when he was putting over no one in the 80s? How about Hulk Hogan? All the talk has been about Hulk Hogan being at WrestleMania 30, being participation in some kind of match. But how about the talk was about him introducing the Ultimate Warrior? To me, it would only be fitting to have that guy introduce that guy. To me, arguably, two of the best that did it in the 80s, along with the Macho Man Randy Savage. But those two guys right there helped continue to put the WWE on the map. And then, after the introduction of that, I mean, at that point, what could you say about Raw? It was good. It had good matches from top to bottom. Storylines progressed. No, we didn't get Big E Langston. I heard somebody say, oh, here we go again, another Raw not having Big E Langston. The roster's how big? Can everybody be on every single show? How about the guy deserve to have a day off for once? He has been wrestling one hell of a schedule. How about that? Well, he probably wrestled in a dark match, so all that's pointless. But still, he wasn't on TV, so what? Move on. Think about what was good about the show. And what was good was the production that was put behind the So's. The production put behind that with the face mask, face paint, if you will, on one side. We got one speaking in their native Samoan language, the other one translating it for you. I thought that was brilliant, done by the company. Hopefully these guys came up with themselves. As my man, my baby brother, if you will, so to speak, Mr. Main Event would say, what are you doing to put yourself over? If that was their idea, that's a hell of a way to get over. And I gotta give my shouts out to the Usos for doing just that. And then you go into the cage match. This cage match that was, I mean, it was a cage match on Raw. I've seen better. I have seen better, but it was a quick cage match also. So for the time that was allotted in this cage match, I thought it was great. The Usos escape and they win the match. But here goes the story the world has been waiting for. Daniel Bryan, as he loses the match, yet again, Bray Wyatt tried to do the same thing he did earlier in the match, but this time, he tries to give him the kiss of Abigail, and he decides, Daniel Bryan, enough's enough. I'm taking off the Duck Dynasty gear. I'm taking off the Duke the Dumpster Joshi gear. I'm taking off the Nails gear, and I'm coming back, and the crowd went ballistic. Listen, I've seen a couple wrestling crowds literally, when I say literally, I mean literally, come all over the building. They just did that. I told you my name was Mike Knoxxx with 3X because I was hardcore. And the crowd went crazy. It doesn't matter you didn't get it at the Royal Rumble. It doesn't matter that you didn't get it at WrestleMania. It doesn't matter that you didn't get it at the Elimination Chamber. The fact of the matter is you got what you asked for. So do me a favor, like I said earlier, please set the hell up. Raw was good. Point blank period. Hashtag shouts out to the wrestling marks of excellent. End of story, people. Raw was good. We got the Intercontinental Champion, the best of all world, going into the Hall of Fame. Hey, I am hashtag the Belt King. We got a great Daniel Bryan going back to being a face. We got Randy Orton going ballistic, channeling inner Edge Copeland. You had a Cena, for all your Cena fans out there, support Cena in 2014, okay? We got the Big Show. We got Paul Heyman talking about, are you trying to impress my client when it comes to Brock Lesnar, people? Next week, we got the return of Batista. And when I tell you guys, I love being a father. I love being able to turn my son into me. He is sitting here being the biggest Batista fan I've ever seen, and he's never even seen the guy wrestle, dog. That is the power of fatherhood, people. If you're a father, make sure you go out there and do right by your children, because I do right by mine and my family. People, listen, I am Mike Knoxxx, hashtag the Bell King, like I told you. I am Mike Knoxxx, hashtag Mr. Blog Talk Radio. I am hashtag Mr. BDSR Network. I am hashtag Don't Blame Me, Blame Bob Johnson. I am hashtag you just mad because you ate me because your girl wish she had me. Listen, people, we out of here. Blog Talk Radio is where I be each and every single day. iTunes, Stitcher, wherever you want to go. Right here on YouTube. Just make sure you follow, because it's time for everybody to know right now that we're taking over in 2014, people. The Ultimate Warrior. Yeah, I know. Peace.
Mike Knoxxx.